Hey everyone, welcome to Dad's Den Tech Reviews. My name is Brian. I'm here in the East Coast Dad's Den studio with another great tech review today. I'm taking a look at the GoPro Hero 7 Black action camera. People are saying this is one of the best GoPros so far, so let's find out if it's as good as they say it is.
Dad's Den Reviews, reaction, satisfaction.
Before we get into the review, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future tech reviews. And as always, we're going to have a link for you later in the video so you can go ahead and learn more about the product and go ahead and purchase it if you want to. So check those things out when we show them on the screen. So let's get to it. GoPro. Everybody knows GoPro. They pretty much invented the action camera, wearable camera segment, and they became hugely popular for good reason. You can do so many things with these cameras. You can hold it like this, you can do this, you can do this, although I'm not sure why you'd ever need to do that, but you can. Or you can do this, hands-free operation of the camera for your extreme sports, parachuting, mountain biking, all those cool things. But here's a piece of advice from Dad's Den. Do not wear this to a party thinking that you're going to look cool and get some cool shots, because you might get some cool shots, but you will not look cool. Okay, so there's no doubt you can do a lot of cool things with the GoPro, but nowadays there are a lot of competitors for it. There are some cheaper knockoffs that you can get, and a lot of these things you can do with your cell phones nowadays. They're not probably as durable, not as rugged as the GoPro, but you can do a lot of things with your cell phone. So is it worth spending the money on GoPro? Let's jump right in and get to the design and features. Okay, first of all, build quality. This thing is a tank, and I think GoPros have always been known for being very durable. This is the first one that I've had, and I'll tell you, it's been dropped a few times, and it comes out with maybe minor scratches. It comes with this case that you can take it out of. It comes with the mount that goes into all those cool accessories like I showed you. You can take it out. The case, the case is going to protect it from getting scratched and give you some drop resistance, and it has the mounts. And then even when it's out of the case, it's solid. It's like a little brick. So there's no concern about the durability of the build, the quality of the build of the GoPro. It's always been that way, and it looks like it's that way in the 7 as well. I did put a screen protector on the front. You get these little tiny screen protector, and one on the back as well, just to protect, since it's touch screen, especially on the back, from getting scratched up. I put they're cheap. They were like $8, I think, for a pack of one for the back and one for the front. So it's worth the investment to protect the camera. Okay, one of the big improvements that they've made in the 7 is that it has the capability to do live streaming with a one-button process. So really, once you have it paired with your phone, you just have to push the button and you're live. You have to have your phone with you, so it doesn't really do it all on its own, but at least you can keep your phone, which is way more expensive than a GoPro, in your pocket or in your backpack, and have your rugged GoPro out and about in the water or wherever you're doing, and you can just do live streaming right from the GoPro. So it's a good option to have if you do Facebook Live or YouTube live streams. It just makes it easier to get those live streams going right through your phone. One of the other things that they've added to the 7 is what they call Super Photo. Now basically this is just an improved HDR photo process where the camera takes 3 different pictures at different exposure levels, layers them together, and kind of picks the best out of each. Especially good for things like when you have backlit situations or a sunset, things like that. And it really is a market improvement. I'll take a look, I'll show you some pictures of the 6 versus the 7, and you can see that the detail is so much better from the 7 than it was from the 6. So that's a huge improvement that they've made to the photo section of the camera with their HDR processing. Another feature that the GoPro Hero 7 Black has is something they call time warp. It's basically a time-lapse feature, and they've had that before, but I find it really useful because it's super easy to set up. You can set it for different rates. What's great about it is you can set your time lapse, and on a camera that doesn't have a time lapse feature, you can take 10 minutes of video, and because you speed it up, it's actually only going to be a 30-second clip, but the file you have is still taking up a 10-minute worth of data. But the way the GoPro does it with the time-lapse feature is it'll only take a certain amount of frames per second, so your 30-second time-lapse is 30 seconds worth of footage, taking over 10 minutes. So it's saving you a ton of storage space and all the hard drive expense that goes along with it. Okay, and this next feature is the one that I'm tagging as the killer feature. GoPro's calling it Hyper Smooth. It's their image stabilization, and it is awesome. It's not optical stabilization. It still isn't. That's been a complaint about GoPros for years, that they don't use optical image stabilization. It's electronic, but I'll tell you, it's really, really good. Like you can have it attached as you're walking down the road, and usually you would see bumping up and down with mediocre image stabilization, but this really smooths it out. And the benefit of it being electronic is it can go through a little bit bigger range of motion than an optical image stabilization will. So like for little bumps, optical might be better, but if you're doing big movements, the electronic's going to be better and look smoother, and you can really tell by the footage. So for nothing else, if you need good image stabilization, the Hero 7 Black is definitely worth it. Okay, but it's not all good news as far as features are concerned. There's no incremental improvement over the 6 in shooting modes. Like the frame rates, you're still getting 60 frames per second for 4K, which I think is adequate. I don't really see the need for shooting 120 frames per second at 4K. I can't see the difference on any average size screen, and I think once you get to 120 frames per second for 4K, you're just eating away at storage space. The file sizes are just massive. But it does shoot 120 frames per second at 2.7K, and at full HD 1080p, it does 240 frames per second. So it's still good, and I think at this point it doesn't really make much of a difference beyond that, so that's why they didn't improve it. The other thing that's not really improved over last year's model, over the 6, is the hardware. The lens is about the same. There's not a better sensor. There's not a lot of hardware improvements, but the software improvements for image stabilization kind of make up for that. And the battery is pretty much the same as it was in the 6, so there's not going to be a lot of difference in battery life. There's no big leap in the amount of time you'll get out of each battery. I definitely recommend getting a spare battery or two. I think that's always been the case, and it still is with the 7. Okay, so let's talk about performance. I already mentioned the Hyper Smooth, and I'm a big fan of it, and the performance was pretty much flawless on that. In the Hero 6, there was kind of edge, the jello effect that GoPros kind of were known for, and you can see that around the edges on the 6, but on the 7, they don't have that problem anymore. So it performed extremely well with the image stabilization. Battery life was not great. The screen, when you put a new battery in, it says an hour and a half, and I think we maybe got a little bit less than an hour. I think it probably depends on what frame rate you're shooting. Less than an hour is all I'd really count on for battery life. So again, get an extra battery or two. I picked up a third-party accessory that was fairly inexpensive. It's a 3 battery charger, so I have an extra battery. I can charge 3 batteries at once. So just take them along, get your 50 to 60 minutes out of each battery, and then just replace it when that was used up. And the only performance failure that I had was at the beginning when you first started using it. It would freeze up every once in a while and become unresponsive. Couldn't turn it off, couldn't record with it or take pictures. So basically take the battery out, put it back in, kind of reset it. But I did a firmware update, so the one that they shipped it with wasn't the current one anymore. So once I went online, got the firmware update, everything worked fine after that. So performance-wise, for the software and for the interface, everything's been good ever since I got that firmware update. All right, so where can you get the Hero 7 Black? They can be found anywhere, but we have a link for you. If you go to that, you'll find out more information about it, but you can also purchase it at that link. So that's going to get you your camera. It comes with the case, one battery, the charger, the charging cord, not the charging station, one mount that's universal that will go into any of these accessories. The accessories I showed you were all third-party ones. They don't come with it. So that's what you'll get if you click the link. You can go purchase at that site. Okay, so final word on the GoPro Hero 7 Black. I definitely recommend it. The price is a little expensive compared to some of the other options. It's $399. So you can weigh that out with competitors, which are cheaper, but I think in this case you kind of get what you pay for, especially with the image stabilization is so good in this one. But if you don't want to spend $399, you can still get GoPro. They have their silver, which is $299, and they have the white, which is $199. So you can check those out. We'll put links in the description for those as well. But I think you can't really go wrong. It's a good value for what you're getting. It kind of can replace your cell phone in a lot of situations where you can use it for live streaming. It has the improved HDR photos, and then the image stabilization just kind of makes it a no-brainer, and definitely recommend it. So thank you for visiting Dad's Them Tech Reviews today. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I ask that you hit the notification bell so that you can be notified of other tech reviews as they come up. Hit subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye.